Let's get started here. Um, you guys know everybody here. We've been talking for a while, but just to be formal, let me just introduce myself. I'm Bruce Johnson, part of the Open Discussions Committee, and I'd like to begin by reading a land and labor acknowledgement. We would like to show our respect and acknowledge the Puget Sound Salish peoples, past and present, on whose lands we gather today. The Snoqualmie Tribe and Muckleshoot Indian Tribe are federally recognized Indian tribes of Greater Seattle under the treaties of Point Elliott and Medicine Creek. In recognizing the history and respecting the sovereignty of Washington's Indian nations, RARE honors the heritage of indigenous communities and their significant role in shaping the course of this region. Further, we respectfully acknowledge the millions of enslaved Africans who provided exploited labor on which this country was built with little or no recognition. Similarly, we acknowledge the labor of other peoples who, while not enslaved, were exploited and whose labor also contributed to the building of America. Uh, okay. Well, welcome to tonight's open discussion. That will be the last one of 2025. And let's see, we are welcoming our guests from the Connections program, and we're really glad they're here. Um, and that would be Vicky, Noah, and Dulce, and their Connections leader, Miss Amber Inwood. Um, I want to thank Tim Hennings for providing the link and the technological know-how to get this thing going. Teresa Stovall, who will moderate and typed up our agenda, and Robin Lang, who's not here. She has to work tonight, but she was a help in getting things together. Anyway, is in regarding connections here, we in the open discussion committee thought it would be great to um, honor these students who have stepped out of their comfort zone to try something new and different, and come across town and meet other people. And that's exactly what the voluntary racial transfer students of the late 60s and early 70s did. They did something noble and brave, and by coming across town and helping integrate, which was pretty much an all-white Roosevelt High School. So anyway, we're on, and I'd like to introduce Teresa, who's our moderator tonight, and she will take us through the program. Teresa, you're up.
Thank you so much, Bruce. Appreciate you. Greetings, everyone, and welcome to our open discussions on the Connections program. Rare is very, very proud of Connections, of the work that it does, of the people who are involved, and of the lessons that are being learned and taught along the way. We're really excited to share Ms. Amber Inwood, Youth Engagement Coordinator, and the crew, a group of students who have graciously agreed to come and share their experiences with us. So that's what we're going to do this evening. First, you'll get to see a short film that was made about the Connections program. You might recognize some folks. Um, and then Miss Amber will speak about the program, introduce her crew members, and then the crew members will chat. We'll have some prompts and questions for them, and then the audience will be able to chat with them, ask questions, etc. That's what we'll do. And then in a fun turnaround, um, the crew members have agreed to ask their questions of those of us who were bused across town from the central area to Roosevelt 50 plus years ago. So we're looking forward to the evening with all of you, and we're so happy that you're here. And so I would like to introduce Tim Henn, who is our fearless leader of Connections, who does so much good work, is so inspiring, and really helps us, pull everything together. By the way, I'm a proud member of the Rare Board and of both committees, this one, Open Discussions and Connections. So It's really wonderful to bring all of this together, and we thank all of you for being with us. Thank you. Tim?
Yeah. Uh, well, Teresa, you asked me to introduce the film, but I think we've all seen it, so it doesn't really need an introduction. But I do want to thank the students who participated in that film and thank the students who are here tonight and participated in the Connections program. You very much made it all worthwhile. There's a lot of behind the scenes that goes on, and we just all the time we're very appreciative of how much the students have put into this. So spread the word with your friends that we feel like it's going great and we're very appreciative. So now I'll start the film. Of course, it's going to go like clockwork here. Already. Here we go. Start this over.
Connect with people and people that you haven't seen and haven't heard. Get out of your comfort zone and try and meet new people.
And they're all from different communities in our school because we have, those different cliques, and we want to just bring those cliques together so we can be one community and help each other out.
It's like working with racial equity, just helping the people around us.
You learn how to respect people, respect yourself most importantly. And we meet up every Thursday just to talk.
It's basically about communication skills and social interactions.
It's also about a lot of bonding with other people.
Meeting this kind of random group of people, and I don't know, I feel like it opened me up more, and I feel like I'm a bit more sociable now.
I got to understand people more and not judge them. Whenever I say something, I think about what Miss Ember says, or think about the impact before you say it. And I'm like, oh wait, okay.
I've gotten to make just completely new friends. And that's changed me as in how I see things, and it's opened my mind to seeing how other people see things and not just how my personal friend group does things. I talk to anyone now because now I'm not scared since I was shown that we could talk to people here. I talk to everyone.
I got a good sense that I could be a better communicator with people, with new people as well.
I was antisocial. I didn't want to talk to nobody. I like this program. You can build social interactions. It impacts your whole life, honestly.
So this is one of the few activities that we did with Garfield. We wrote a sweet short message that we belong and that we matter. Shows that we're a community, although that two schools divide us.
I think this program is important because there's not a lot of them out there, and especially what's been going on lately in this country, I think it's very important. I think this community needs a little help, and I want to help with that.
It's good to meet other people and other students from other schools, and it's good to learn about other cultures.
It makes you want to talk to people.
One, they could meet a lot of new people and become more sociable and hopefully more extroverted. It's okay if you're introverted,
but it's also a lot of bonding.
This program will bring you out of your comfort zone 100%.
Communicate with others.
You're meeting new people.
To have more confidence.
It'll be a fun experience. And you'd also get to know more people, get more friends.
So you make friends.
You can get to know these people better and have some friends in older grades as well as meeting people in your grade.
You're just going to have a good time. It's not anything stressful. For more information about this program, visit urbanleague.org/connections-program.
All right.
Beautiful. Okay, and with that, I'd like to introduce to you Ms. Amber, as she is fondly known. Amber Inwood is the Youth Engagement Coordinator for Connections. She works at both schools, Roosevelt High School and Garfield High School, and pulls everything together. She turns Connections vision into daily action. She designs workshops, books facilitators, plans activities, handles student recruitment, gathers feedback, and keeps students, teachers, volunteers, partners, and us aligned. She does this all within the budget and learning goals set by RARE and our partners, the Urban League of Metropolitan Seattle. Ms. Amber stepped into this role in April 2024. She has a master's in science education, 15 years experience with youth development from leading King County STEM Pat's Innovation Network's Fellows Program to creating culturally responsive science programs at Hawaii's Bishop Museum. Ms. Amber is known for building trust and guiding students towards success. All of the feedback from her first year from students, teachers, and staff has been overwhelmingly positive. It is my honor and pleasure to present to you Ms. Amber.
Well done.
Wow. Thank you for the introduction there. Not expected, but appreciated. That's for sure. So I am really just going to give a brief overview of the program. But really we want to make sure that we hear from our wonderful crew. That's what we call our students, because they really do their work beyond the school with how they create a sense of belonging for their student peer community. So the program goes in two phases. You have the first phase, which is learning. And so in that first phase, we have a cohort of up to 12 students for each school. And that's their time to learn about first and foremost themselves, and then on top of that, create a community, and a community which is a brave space for them to rely on each other, but to also be able to make mistakes as they go along and grow and broaden their lens with how to create a community at their respective school, which is more inclusive and makes everyone feel like they belong. So then the second phase is the doing. And so this is where we see a lot of the action happening with our crew members. And so that's where they earn their service learning hours supporting other students and really putting the boots to the ground with creating this sense of belonging. And so that part of the program, students take what they've learnt and they can do a number of things to support. We have several different specific things that they can do, such as they can be a group lead for our field trips and for other crew members who are coming up in the new crew. They can also be a one-on-one peer mentor for maybe a student who is new to the school, perhaps a freshman, maybe a student who's haven't wanting to make some friends, or maybe having a bit of a hard time socially getting to know other students. They can also propose a activity within the school, which can be funded if they want to create it with their lens that's inclusive and brings everyone together. And then we also have the option of bring your own idea, because at the end of the day, it's you guys, it's the crew that know what's needed for other students to connect. And so we are now into our third cohort so far. And we have here with us today 3 of our graduated crew members. So if there aren't any questions, I'm going to introduce these wonderful young adults. So we have Noah. And Noah, if you could give us a wave.
Hello.
And as I introduce them, I am going to just give a real brief overview of what I've observed about these amazing individuals. So Noah was part of our second crew from Roosevelt, and I'll let Noah, as with our other 2 crew members, speak of their own experience. But from my observation, we had Noah come in crew 2, and participated, was very, very lively. And then what happened was Noah moved on from Roosevelt High School. But what's amazing is being so much invested in his community that Noah has come back as a Seattle Public Schools volunteer, and actually has also, under my role as a Urban League staff member, supported other initiatives and getting the word out to his community to support not just the students, but the families of a lot of the students at Roosevelt. So then we have Vicky. So Vicky is one of the OG, one of the original crew members. Vicky has since graduated high school. And Vicky, wow, I don't know really where to start, but what I've seen is the emergence of a natural leader. When things got crazy, which it generally always did, uh, Vicky was not only the voice of reason, but she also brought everyone together and at the same time really made sure the group focused on having that inclusive lens and not losing sight of what their role is in the school. So I had the pleasure of witnessing Vicky step up and lead a graffiti workshop that one of our staff members led. And it was such a wonderful event. We had students from all over the place who joined us, and actually a lot of students who joined the program. I will let Vicky speak to where she's at in her very exciting life. And then last but not least, we have the wonderful Dulce. Dulce is also an OG, an original crew member of the mighty 3 crew members in the first crew at Garfield. Dulce is now a senior at Garfield. And Dulce is an example of someone who has taken an opportunity and taken it and just keeps going and going with it. If I could describe Dulce, Dulce is quietly competent, always reliable, and always there. Dulce has, I've seen tremendous growth, but more importantly, I've seen the impact that Dulce has had on other students, not just in the program, as being that quiet person who's just there for people. And it's just so wonderful to see the different examples here of different types of leadership. And that leadership isn't necessarily what people think traditionally is leadership. It's the loudest person or the person running the show. It's your own style of leadership. And each one of our wonderful crew members who are here today are an example of really taking hold of their own leadership style and utilizing that to support others. I did want to add one last thing about Dulce. Dulce actually recently was accepted as one of 12 students across the nation as a member of the National Urban League Youth Council, which is a pretty big deal. So Dulce is not only representing Seattle Urban League, but she's actually representing all the schools that Urban League supports in the Seattle region. So without further ado, I'm kind of getting sick of hearing my own voice. I would love to hand it over back to Teresa, who will start asking questions and engaging with our wonderful crew members.
Thank you so much, Amber. So, y'all ready? All right. So, first question obviously is kind of where were you in your life at school, in your school life, when you first heard about Connections? And what attracted you to the program? What inspired you to join?
So, when I first heard about Connections, it was actually Miss Amber giving a preview of the club or the crew in one of my classes. She had came in to talk about it, and I had honestly had never heard about anything like that at Roosevelt, and I was already a senior. So I think it was September, and at that time, I mean, Roosevelt has clubs for different students so they can feel in a community, but I really just appreciated how it was for everybody because other clubs at Roosevelt, it's like mainly Hispanic based, Black based, white based. It's like, it just didn't feel right to not have a place where everybody could come and build community. So what attracted me to it was really the simple fact that everybody could go. And I really liked that. It's been something that it had, it could have been at Roosevelt so much earlier, I feel like. And like, yeah, it it just attracted me because I didn't hear about anything like that in my 4 years of being at Roosevelt.
Beautiful. Noah?
Mhm.
Um,
I heard of connections from someone who started the first round of it, Bella, and I'm gonna be at first I didn't really understand it, but then I got to meet Miss Amber and she explained the program and all that thoroughly to me, and I was like, this is really a place where I could possibly belong because most of my classes I felt alone because none of my friends are in it, but you know her explaining connections, telling me that, oh yeah, you can come over here, you'll belong over here, really, wanted me to join it.
Beautiful, Dulce.
So, the first time I was exposed to connections was through an email, and it was like by pure chance because I rarely check my school email. So it was just that I was like, I looked at the email and I was like pretty interested at first because I was like mainly interested because last year when I entered 11th grade, I started running start and that made me like lose like a lot of like connections at Garfield because like most of my friends just go to Garfield. They don't do running start. And a lot of people at like the college I'm going to, like they're all like pretty you know, middle-aged people and there are some like people like me, but I don't really like see them a lot. So I was a bit isolated at the time. And so connections like allowed me to meet other people that were like around the same age range as me. And I was able to gain back connections that I kind of like lost back in like 10th grade. So yeah, it like really helped me a lot. And if I didn't, actually, I don't know where I would be right now if it weren't for connections because this program just helped me a lot.
Beautiful. Dulce, quick question, just for clarification. So was Running Start a program where while you were in high school, you were also taking some college courses or
Oh,
advanced
I was
courses?
mainly taking college courses. I only had like one class at Garfield and it was at the end of the day. So I didn't really know anyone at that class. So yeah, I was like pretty isolated.
Okay, which college were you going to?
I'm going to Seattle Central College. I'm still attending.
Beautiful. Okay, thank you very much. Okay, so what we'd like you to do is describe the experience of being in the program, how you came into it, what you got out of it, and how it's impacting you now.
So the experience of being in a program, it was actually one of the funnest things I did in high school. I we got to learn communications and leadership skills without really even knowing it because we were having fun throughout all of it. So it was really just the experience of being with different people, building different events. And at the end of it, it like really showed me that it did change me because before that, I wouldn't really talk to people. And by the end of high school, I was friends with almost everybody in connections, almost everybody in my grade. And it was a great experience also because now that I'm in college, I have a sense of how clubs here work because it like made me really understand how to build events. So I'm really grateful for that. And it also made my communications and leadership skills so much stronger. And again, I didn't even know how I was building them while we were building those skills because we were having fun while doing it. So yeah,
That's amazing. Where do you go to college?
I go to Western Washington University.
Beautiful. All right. Noah?
Um, the connections program, it when I first did it, it felt very awkward, but after a day or two, it really became like a safe space for me. And I'm sorry, while doing the program, Miss Amber taught us all these. She basically like broadened our knowledge about other people and, how to communicate with those people and how to interact with them and just to not be close-minded. And honestly, after doing that program, I'm more open to people and ideas. I used to really shy away from other people, but after doing this program, I take the initiative and communicate first at least.
Love it. Ms. Dulce?
So my experience with connections was a really interesting one. So when I first started out, I was like obviously nervous to meet other people because, well, I was always used to being with my tight circle of friends. And so just like meeting other people, it was like a really interesting experience. But once I got to know my crew members, I actually formed like a pretty strong bond with them to the point that I could share almost pretty much everything with them. So yeah, I just like this program managed to help me broaden my viewpoints and like open the doors to like make connections with other people that aren't just like my select group of friends. And I just like I really hold this program like very close to my heart because it really helped me a lot, and I just hope that connections continues to thrive for like years to come.
Beautiful. Thank you. What have you all told, what do you tell, or have you told other students, your peers, about connections when you were in high school?
Honestly, I told all of them that it's not just, I mean, because when you read the flyer, you read 60 service hours if you come and you build, you know, events. But besides that, it truly is a place where we're building a comforting environment. It's like it's not just what it looks like on the flyer. It's so much deeper than that, and we really do build connections with other people, and not just people, but with Miss Amber, I feel like besides the professional part, she's a friend of mine. Like it was very like nice to just build connections with everybody, and also the skills that we gain from it. I would tell my friends to join, and just like I knew they were introverted people, so like having them come in, and I feel like some did, and it helped them a lot. And 60 service hours is a great plus, but it's also about how connections really does work with building real connections. Yeah.
Right. Noah?
Um, I always tell people that they should do the program for the main purpose to build connections and get to know people. Uh, I do tell them that there's 60 service hours to, that's just the side part, the side dish. But yeah, I always tell them they should get to meet Miss Amber because I feel like Miss Amber is really like the foundation. Like, yeah, we make the ties or whatever, but I feel like without her and her teachings and stuff, it'd be way harder for me to even ask them to join the thing. But yeah, I always tell them about Miss Amber and the fun things we did, like the activities, the field trips. Yeah.
Cool. Dulce?
So I actually did talk about connections with some of my friends, but I always tell them that it's like a great opportunity to meet other people. And like Noah said, like the 60 hours are just a side dish, and Miss Amber is just like an amazing person, and she just like makes like the program feel like more natural and more welcoming. And yeah, I just like tell my friends and some close acquaintances about the program. And yeah.
Great. So this is a after school activity, right? Enrichment activity, extracurricular. How would each of you say that the impact of the Connections program affected your overall educational and academic experience?
Honestly, it made it a lot better after I started going a couple times. Like, even though I was already a senior, I had senioritis. So, I went in and I was like, okay, I need to build a real schedule for myself. And honestly, being in connections, it helped because not only were we learning in with our crew how to be more organized, I would say, but yeah, learning stuff like that helped and like got a lot more locked in with my work. I feel like if I didn't join connections, I would have had senioritis all the way through high school. I mean, yeah, it really helped cure that a little bit, I would say. And yeah, yeah.
Beautiful. Noah?
The connections program, it taught me to put my foot down and ask for help. And my grades weren't the most perfect things during it, but because of the teachings and stuff, I began to reach out, ask for help, and you know, try to at least pull through all of that. And yeah.
Okay. Dulce?
So the connections program actually like helped me a lot with my academic progress. So actually before joining connections, I was actually kind of like struggling since I was like doing running start for the first time. I was like kind of struggling with the classes because they were like different than high school classes. So I was kind of like getting slightly lower grades and stuff, and it kind of just like made me like pretty depressed and stuff because I was like always used to getting really good grades. So after like joining the program, I actually felt more like confident in myself and began to like reaching out more to people for help because like before the connections program, I was always used to like doing stuff for myself because that was just how I was accustomed to. So yeah, like I just saw that my grades were like going like skyrocketing after joining the connections program. And actually I just like recently joined my college's Phi Theta Kappa chapter that they have. So it's like the honor society that they have. So I think that connections like really, really helped me because I managed to like just like have like a strong will to like do things, forcing myself to do things and get work done. So yeah, I think connections like helped me a lot in that aspect.
That's great. Now um are you all are still involved in the program, even though you're not all still in schools? Can we tell us a little bit about that? Your current involvement or not, if you have any?
So I am currently not involved with this program anymore, but I would still love to. But I'm pretty busy here at college. I'm majoring in
You're
political
at Western
science,
Washington.
so I'm pretty packed up with my schedule. But for high school students who are still in high school and have the opportunity to join, I would 100% encourage them to.
Beautiful. Noah?
Um,
You school, yes.
hmm?
You go ahead.
So I I put posters for the connections program um at Gar no I just put posters around to advertise the place, and I told them to contact me if they ever had questions, but they can also contact Miss Amber. And I also communicated it through word of mouth because a lot of students live where I am, and so I told them where to go, how to go.
I don't know how to get into it. Dulce?
So basically, I also did it from like word of mouth, just like interacted with other people regarding the connections program. And I would also like put up like the posters for the connections program sometimes too. And I would like advertise it through like, so last year I advertised the connections program in my Algebra 2 honors class. And then I also did it for one of my friends' art class because I was also like advertising like the graffiti art event we were doing. So I just like figured I was gonna like advertise like the program as well.
Great. Okay, so we can now open up questions for the crew from everyone who's here tonight. Anyone have a question for our folks? You can raise a hand or just unmute yourself, jump in.
Yeah, I have a
Hi,
question.
Alan.
Are you
Alan.
did you guys receive grades for this?
No, we received 60 service hours, which is all the service hours we need for high school.
Great, awesome. And if you and if you were going to receive a grade, what grade would you give yourself?
A plus.
Definitely an A.
All right,
Yeah, definitely an A too.
good, good for you.
Beautiful.
I'd like to
Um,
add 2 pluses also on everyone's A pluses all around.
Yeah,
they
yeah,
gave you a
because
lot of A pluses too, Miss Amber. Go ahead, Alan.
definitely, yeah, because yeah, participation is everything. So that's why you guys are getting to the habit of volunteering to broaden your experiences, and nobody's going to do it but you. And that's very good. You're starting that habit to explore not just people, but to explore yourself. That's the only way you're going to learn who you are, by exploring what's out there. And I highly applaud you, and I highly applaud Miss Amber there, because seems like a very innovative type of instructor. So keep up the good work, all of you guys.
Yeah.
Natalia
Joe
had a
Hunter.
question.
Oh, Tony. Okay, Tony.
No, Natalia.
Oh, Tony.
Yeah. Hi. Thanks, Jim. I had a pretty basic question. What was your favorite activity or field trip, or maybe even just circle or whatever it is that you did at Connections?
I would say mine was the redlining tour. That was so interesting. I'm such a big history and all that type of, history, politics, all that. That's my thing. So redlining was so interesting, and we took a tour. We went twice. Actually, the first time I went as part of the first phase of the crew, and the second time I went was an organized event. So yeah, that was fun. I think that was one of the funnest things.
If I could add to what Vicky was saying, Vicky actually came back and was a group lead. So one of the leaders of Crew One who were experiencing the redlining tour at the same time, and Dulce did this as well. And it's really these kind of roles kind of organically happening have really enriched those field trip experiences and being at meetups and just made all of those experience go to another level.
Um, my favorite experience was when we went to, I can't put my finger on the museum, but we went to one, and uh just learning about Native American culture and all of that, it really like fascinated me. And we also, there was Garfield students there too, and that was like, it made us way closer with the Garfield students and stuff. That, that was really enjoyable for me.
And that was
So,
at UW. Just to add some context really quickly. We do a University of Washington Indigenous walking tour, and it's now become kind of a staple part of the program. And to echo what Noah's saying, it's a very, very popular part of the program.
I would say that the field trip we went over the summer when we were doing like the program in summer university, I think my favorite field trip was actually like the when we went to like the Museum of Flight and saw the MiG-21. I just thought it was like really interesting, like given like the history of it, like how it used to be like a symbol of war and bloodshed, and then it was like turned into like something that you could like artistically express yourselves and stuff. So I just thought it was like really interesting. And also like the flight simulation was really fun too.
Joe Hunter.
Okay. I just want to share an experience. And Amber, I'm not sure if you remember this, but first of all, let me just say, Amber, you're just outstanding, unbelievable. Okay. And the experience I want to share is that I think it's been maybe 2, 3 years ago, Amber. It was at Garfield and it was at the summer program. And there was a student in the program who had a disability. And something had happened where some of the kids were teasing him. Why I don't know, but they were teasing him and giving him a bad time. And I was in there. I was in there in the class, just observing, sitting, um, and Amber it was had already talked to the kids that were students that were giving this one student a bad time. But then she turned around and she spoke to some other kids. And I remember this. The student who had not said anything to the other student, okay, with the disability, said, "Why did you?" And I can't remember exact words, but why are you mad at me? I didn't say anything. Amber, I don't know if you remember that, but but I didn't say anything. And she said, "That's why I got mad, because you didn't say anything." And I said, "Wow." I said, "Wow." For me, that was a moment of reflection because it to that that student, I didn't have a chance to talk to them afterwards, but I could see them really understanding what Amber was trying to communicate, that it's not okay to see something that's not right and just walk by and do nothing. So anyway, that Amber, again, it's been 2 or 3 years ago since I had that experience, but it always stayed with me. And again, congratulations. I mean, you're doing a fantastic job, and we appreciate you working with Rare and with Connections.
Thank you, Joe. Nilu?
Thank you. Tim, I saw you trying to raise your hand. Do you still have a question you want to ask first? It was before me, so no?
I can go later. Please go ahead.
All right. Well, just thank you, Joe, for those comments. Amber, it's been awesome watching this program grow. I was able to go on the Indigenous tour on UW before actually you started, Amber, and like really enjoyed it myself. And so I'm glad you guys have really liked it. I've been really curious. I'm wondering if there are other trips or activities you think would be fun that students would like to do, or ideas. We've talked about cooking or um, I don't know, art museums, or just if there anything that you want to share with some of us here who um, would love to help make that happen if it's possible.
I think any type of museum would be really good. Also because like I feel like everybody who goes into connections, is like very open-minded about, learning things and, wanting to view things in a wider I'm not sure, but yeah, I think any type of museum or like even like something like a painting, a painting little type of thing with everybody in the 12 would be fun. Something like that.
Great. We have Bruce and then Tim, looks like.
Okay, I hope I'm not muted. No, I'm not muted. First of all, I'd like to compliment you all for, you made some comment, I think it was Dulce, about getting out of your own little circle of friends. And, that's something I wish I had done more when I was at Roosevelt. Um, I was really comfortable with my own circle and I could do all kinds of stupid things. But if I had to do all over again, I would have taken a walk, and gone over and sat with some of the transfer kids and other kids. I would, and you're doing that, and I commend you. I want to know where you all went to middle school.
I went to Ochoa Middle School in Pasco, Tri-Cities, here in Washington.
Noah?
I went to Glacier Middle School. I don't know if you guys heard of it. I think it's around SeaTac, I think. Um, it was a unique experience.
How so? But
the school wasn't fully built when we went in, and so they're still doing construction work for the cafeteria. But other than that, there was nothing really
look,
easy.
oh, I see. Um, Dulce,
I went to Mini Middle School.
what school?
Mini Middle School. So
Meany.
it's like, yeah.
Okay. Okay, we have some Meany people here, rare from Meany, but Robin Lang, she's not here tonight. She had to work. It was too bad, but um, I don't know if Teresa, I know you went to Jane Addams. If you ever went to Meany, also.
I went to Meany for 2 years, which is why, and my behavior there caused my mother to send me to Jane Addams.
Hey, I just want to say that Jane Addams is a cool place right now. It wasn't back then. Oh, anyway, okay. Well, I
Very,
taught middle school, and that's why I wanted to know.
very good. Okay. Tim. Oh,
Yeah.
Amber has her hand up, and Tim.
Uh, I heard each of you talk very positively about three different field trips that you went on, that were off campus and how you learned a lot. To what extent do you think those field trips tied into the purpose of Connections, which is not necessarily to learn about MiG-21? It's to get to know one another and to develop your skills at meeting new people uh, and helping yourself feel like you belong more to the school. So do you think the field trips are helpful in that regard, or is it just kind of a cool thing to do?
Honestly, it's a cool thing to do, but going to those field trips with other people in connections, it's like if you're getting thrown into a small room with a whole bunch of random people, it's like eventually you're gonna talk to them, you're gonna become friends with them. So going on these field trips with people from connections who we're just getting to know, like it's like we'll open a conversation like, oh, did you like this in the field trip? And like we'll be like, whoa, like yeah, we'll connect about it. We'll become, yeah. By the first field trip that we did, I made friends with everybody in crew the first time around. So it does help because we do become more social, and we're also like, oh, we're like all in a new area, we're all in a new place. The museums, sometimes they look a little scary, so we'll group up and we'll start talking, and then yeah.
I feel like the main purpose of the field trips was really for you to step away from the connection crew you were in and to talk to the other connection crew. And they were successful. I've made a few friends over there, but yeah, I feel like the main purpose of it is for you to put your skills to use and, figure out how to use all of that.
Dulce?
So I think that the main purpose of the field trips is to like bring people more closer together, since it's a pretty sizable group of people who are just like enjoying going somewhere. And obviously when you're like enjoying something, you might feel like the need to like also interact with other people and like share your experiences if you're like feeling that you really enjoyed the field trip. So, yeah, I think that the field trips the field trips really like brought people together and just improved overall communication with the group members that are part of like that just like go to the field trips and stuff. So I just feel like it really helps improve a lot, like interactions, and like compels them to like collaborate with one another.
Great. I'm going to have
Thank
all you
you.
guys write write testimonials for our brochure. This is great.
Absolutely. Before we get to you, Joe, we have Carol has asked a question in the chat that I'd like to share. Thank you, Carol. Carol would like to know for the students and the crew, is there an experience you had or something you learned with connections that you might bring into a job, community, or other situation in the future? Great question, Carol.
Oh, definitely. So, as I said before, my communication skills and my leadership skills, whoa, I mean, I really shocked myself by the end of the whole program because I was not only able to talk to people that I wouldn't talk to, but I was also able to have a sturdier mind of how to build events and stuff and just become more, I would say, like aware. And yeah, and then like in situations for future, I do plan on becoming a lawyer, so being just having leadership as a skill, and I'm glad I learned this so early on, and I'm still learning so many more things, but it just builded like a stable foundation for all of that to start growing. And yeah.
A skill that I think that, I obtained during this program and that I could put to use would be like understanding that people are in a different situation to you, whether it be through religion, race, age, just to understand that they're in a different position. And I think because I intend to work in healthcare, I don't fully know what, but I feel like if you're going to do the kind of job, you're going to have to like talk to people, understand people, know what to say, what not to say. And that's a skill I think is really important for everyone, but I do think that's something I can bring along with me.
You'll say?
So a skill that really like I actually really I gained from like the program was like the skill of being able to like talk to other people and overall just being like productive and being able to like collaborate with others. So in the future, I would like to probably work in like business or something, but I'm also like considering like the possibility of getting into like social work because I just feel like it's really interesting, like helping other people. And I think I really have like the skills to like get into that. And I just like really like the thought of like social work since you can like you interact with other people and you're able to like help them. So I think that it's just like the program just like kind of like opened the doors to like possibilities that I never really considered before.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Joe?
Yes. I have a question for all three of you, and that is as a result of your experience with connections, okay, outside of the connections group, the different crews, what impact do you feel that you had in the school community, the greater school community?
Honestly, I think that would be hard to say because I myself wouldn't notice, but by the end, I did get a lot of underfreshmen or underclassmen is what they're called, freshmen, sophomores, telling me that I made a big change in how they started their high school. They like said that I would give super great advice, and then also by telling them just my experiences and not only just in high school but in connections too. Um, I think that just really made positive changes for them. But yeah, I'm not too sure.
Good.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I made any positive things. No, like Okay, I know that I did, but I like she said, I wasn't really aware of it. But people haven't. For instance, there is a student that's doing connections now that couldn't do it last year, but I was convincing her to do it, and she's like, "All right, like since you're always reminding me," and yeah, that's one thing I do realize.
Um, I don't really know if I actually made like a significant impact, but just because I just don't really like notice. But I think that I've seen like a bit of like a surgence in people telling me that I'm like really reliable and that like I'm like pretty dependable and stuff because like I never really got any like compliments like that. And yeah, so like basically both in Garfield and like at the college I'm attending, I just like get those compliments from like people who go to like the same classes as I do. And like sometimes we have to do like group work. And then like I'm just like they just tell me that I'm like pretty reliable and stuff. And honestly, that just like makes my day because like it just like shows I I just really
Okay, thank you.
Kim?
Sorry, muted there. I want to follow up on Joe's question, what I think is one of the most important questions asked, because it's great that all of you feel like your lives have changed for the better, and but it's really important that we find a way to have a ripple effect, that the program can reach out, and that of course is why Ms. Amber was talking about the doing part as well as the learning part, at the beginning of this conversation. So, on our end of the planning side of things, we're struggling with how to best map out the doing side. And I think maybe the three of you were a little early in the program before we really formally launched the doing. So um, I'd like I'd like to think that, well, I'd like your comments on how we can beef up uh, the doing half of connections so that you could answer this question a little more definitively, or a lot more definitively, that you participated in mentoring some people, or you ran an after school meetup program, or something. Do you have any thoughts about what we could do to shore up that side of connections?
Honestly, for me, the doing part was, I'm not going to say it was simple and easy, but it was understandable at a, normal pace. I was able to understand um, how to make events and how to communicate with others, how to tell my team to try to get it together. So I do think that one thing that would be really helpful would be like having a set plan on how to make events because, obviously Miss Amber was a huge help for us. Obviously, we weren't doing things alone. She was always there with us. But like just having I guess like maybe like a planner or an agenda of how steps should go, just like a guide on how to make an event or like how to like, oh, we're gonna buy these amount of snacks. So, having that agenda for students to like a sketch of an event, something like that just to give to them, I think would be super helpful for future crew members.
Um, when I was doing connections, I couldn't find any problems with it, but I do wish I could maybe put my like skills to use with other people. Like I know I could do that outside of the program and stuff, but just like put my skills to use with like the people in connections, if that makes sense.
Give an
Like
example.
like going somewhat like the field trips where we put our connection skills, under getting to know the Garfield students, but I kind of wish we got to know other people, if that makes sense.
Other people like,
Other people like obviously our age. I think Garfield and Roosevelt were they the only ones doing connections. I just wish we got to meet other people doing connections from either different
Mhm.
schools or, you know.
That's good to hear. It's good to hear. Yeah, we kind of wondered about the wisdom of bringing together students from different schools. There's people arguing for it and against it, but you think it's good. Dulce?
So when I started the program, I didn't really think it was I think it was pretty it started out pretty good. I mean, I didn't really understand much of it, but um later on I kind of just got the grasp of it. So I think that um yeah, I think that there should be um yeah, I was also kind of wondering if connections could just expand then more than just these two select high schools. So people can interact with other people from other schools and maybe just understand how different other people can be and maybe forge relationships that are beyond Roosevelt and Garfield.
Thank
powerful.
you very much.
Mhm.
I just have a question. I'm listening to the kids. Do you think there's a better way that we can put connections out there for kids to understand what it is? Because I know listening to you, all of you guys joined, you loved it, but I think we're all kind of trying to figure out how do we put it out there because we would like it to be in more schools than just Roosevelt and Garfield, but you have to start somewhere. So I'm just wondering, with you guys being part of that, can you give us advice on what we should do to assist in advertising out to pull more kids in or even more schools?
I would honestly say to play a short video in different classes if that's allowed, I feel like that would really catch eye of a couple students. Also, flyers don't really seem to work, honestly. I mean, let's be realistic. Somebody walks by one person is gonna look at the wall and be like, "Oh, that looks cool."
Yeah.
So yeah, I think maybe showing our video and also having individual students going to classes, and it's always a lot more interesting hearing from other students than hearing
Yeah.
from an older person. Not in a rude way, but it's just it's more interactive when you're hearing from other students.
And I'm going to assume that Teresa's taking notes.
You know me too well.
Okay. Thank you.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Yeah, I
Yes,
agree
yes.
with Vicky.
Okay.
If I could just add to that, something that we've noticed with the transition into building the program more and having multiple crews now, is definitely echoes what Vicky was saying, is that students don't want to hear from me. They don't want to hear from teachers. They don't want to hear from a flyer or an announcement, whatever. It truly recruitment has been word of mouth. And this and students have made active efforts of being at a table and having flyers and going to classrooms. But honestly, it's that organic culture change that's happening. I know that Dulce, Vicky, and Noah say, "Oh, I don't know if I made an impact," but I think that's the beauty of it. It's kind of, the term altruism, right? What is the true reason that you do something for someone or someone else, right? It's so you don't gain. It's not for your personal gain. And a true sign of that is not even being aware of it. And what I see from the outside in, my observation is I am seeing impact. And one of those big impacts is the longer term interaction with other students and that welcoming aspect that's happening and that community aspect that's growing and happening organically. And then when it comes to the recruitment and getting the word out, it's part of the culture. It's starting to really emerge as part of the culture. So as much as I can sit there and say, did you get it from a flyer? Did you speak to another student? Did you? Half the time the students can't even recall how they heard about it or where, but they know who they heard about it from. And it's 9 times out of 10, another connection student who wasn't necessarily out there recruiting, but was just talking about it in their everyday lives.
Very powerful. That's powerful. It's good information. Dulce.
Well, I also agree with Vicky. I think there should be like some sort of like guest speaker that like goes to like the schools and just like talks to like the students and stuff. So yeah, it would be like really helpful if like multiple students who have like experienced connections could go to like a sort of like assembly sort of. But I also think that there should be like some sort of like pre-course, I don't know, like making like a sort of like test connections program that kind of just like tests if like the students are like interested and just like sees how overall like the school environment is in the school. I think that would be pretty helpful as to know like what the students want in that particular school because like in like countless schools like the students' needs are different. So it would just allow people to like yeah, like a student survey sort of, but like a bit more interactive since I think that like students like just like the online surveys, I don't well, they do help, but like having like a sort of like interactive one. I don't know how to say it, but like there should be like a sort of like
Focus group?
Sort of, yeah, like sort of like a pre like just like testing the waters and to see like how like the school environment is.
Well, I have a question to follow up on that
I
for
just
y'all.
so do
Oh.
I. When you
And
go.
Okay, go
I
ahead.
have an add-on question too.
Well,
Okay,
Dulce, do you think
y'all go.
students could lead that? Do you think we could
Pardon?
have students? Could students do what you're talking about? Could
Yeah,
they?
I think so.
So
Yeah.
if they did that as part of their service hours, hosted some kind of event, where of course they give out free candy or whatever, but then get some people and they do kind of a mini connections session. I'm throwing
Yeah,
this
I
out
think
as an idea.
yeah, like something like that. I think it would be like really helpful to like be able to like extend to other schools. But yeah, just like simply like putting up flyers and stuff. I don't think that's like very effective because like it doesn't really allow people to like fully know like the experience of being in connections. So I think like a little like session that kind of just like goes over kind of like what connections is about and how it would look like in their everyday lives would be like very interesting and like very informative for them.
Can I add on my question with respect to what you were asking? So crew, there's an emphasis on what can we do better or what can we do additional or how do we expand? But I think it's really important that we take a step back and ask you guys the questions, what needs to stay? What is it in the program that you've experienced, some tangible things, right, that need to stay as part of the program? If you could each kind of list 1 or 2 things.
Can you repeat that one more time? My computer cut out.
That's okay. So we're taking it a step back There's been lots of questions about growth and lots of questions about what should we be doing, what could we do for this, but taking a step back and looking at the program as is of what you've experienced. If there are like 1 to 2 core things that we need to make sure continues and isn't lost with growth, what would it be?
Community circles. If you guys remember those, we would all sit around and just talk, have genuine conversations, and that I feel was part of getting us all together. But yeah, I feel like just doing not so much of doing an event as in like going to a museum or going or just like making an art project together, but actually conversating is what I feel like, really does help build that foundation for a good crew.
The activities we did, I feel like really held us together. I remember one activity we did where we were learning like how people's, an example would be like racism, let's just say. And she was showing us the differences between how one group will benefit rather than another. Um, and I feel like that really, like activities like that really made us like, I don't know how to describe it.
Made you maybe did it forge a sense of connection or relatability? You could relate to each other.
Um, yeah, yeah.
So I think that like what should definitely stay is like yeah, like the circles we would do and also like the games we would play, the interactive games, because I think that like through like the little kind of like the board games we play and stuff, I think it's like really fundamental because like in the end everyone just like ends up talking to people they don't even know and stuff. And another thing that I think that should really be like should still be in like the program is like the workshops we would do. So like I remember when we first started out on like at least in Garfield, like when the Connections program started, we started off with like this graffiti art workshop. And like it was at the time where we didn't really where we like paired up with like Roosevelt and stuff. And I thought it was like really interesting because we got to like meet other people while we were like being taught to like how to make like graffiti and like graffiti styled art and stuff. So I think that like those workshops would like be like a significant help in the program and just like reinforces like our connections with other people.
That's great. Tim, did you have another question? Tim,
And
you have another?
snacks? Would you say
No,
snacks and food are important?
I know those are important. Somebody's always asking me to write another check for snacks.
Gotta have snacks. Gotta feed everybody, right?
Yep.
So, so I have a question just out of curiosity, to follow up on kind of getting the word out, attracting people, etc. For y'all, which is, are there any digital forms of communication that would be effective? I don't know how digital your lives are in terms of your phones, etc. But would that factor in at all? Would there be any advantage to having anything there, or is the in-person interaction just much more powerful, or could they complement each other?
Well, personally, I feel like in-person interaction is always go-to, like it's like I remember every part of an interaction with someone. So for me, it was really helpful to not only just memorize, but also like think and, you know, like figure out more. Because also, it's like if I get an email, I'll look at the email and I'll be like, all right, like, or if it's like something I would like in a flyer, I'm not the type of person to look at flyers. So too, yeah, like in actual interaction, I feel like it's always the best. This one's perfect.
Mine's a little offset.
Okay.
No. At least with Roosevelt, I don't know if it's like student held or if the school's managing it. Probably the school, but I know maybe showing the program, the video we made, um, on like the official apps or whatever might bring people to not consider joining, but at least like look at it and acknowledge it and think about it. Like, I don't know. I feel like, not Facebook though, because I don't know no young people using Facebook, but um yeah, like Instagram or something.
Okay.
So I personally think that it's more effective doing it through like the word of mouth, especially like holding if you're like in class or something, you could like advertise like the program like I did. Like I advertised the program just through like talking about it in like some of my high school classes and also like yeah, like just like being able to like talk about it in like classes or sometimes like through like social media, like through like Instagram or TikTok, like you could just like post like something related to the program or maybe do something trendy because like obviously like people nowadays they like get like pretty ecstatic when like a trend is referenced and stuff. So I think that like really like would help get a major outreach and get the program out there.
Very helpful. Thank you all. Well, we have, I don't know if there are any other questions for our crew, but any final questions? Because coming close to our wrap-up time. Any other thoughts? Any other questions? No? Okay, well, I would like to ask the crew members if they have any last words of wisdom that they would like to share with us. Just anything.
Um, I want to give the biggest shout out to Miss Amber. She's incredibly, I mean, she's such a great, not just teacher, but also like mentor, I would say. She really did help out through everything. And it wasn't like, oh, like, I don't know how to do this, Miss Amber, here you go. No, it was real help. Like, it's not just, it wasn't just, um, you know, not I want to say like a relationship where it was a teacher to student. It was more like of a real like example, real figure to show like she led the way for all of us, right? And like she carved out how to get there, like everything. Like she's amazing, truly.
I don't have anything to say.
Okay, don't say.
So I also want to give like a major shout out to Miss Amber. She like really helped me and like a lot of people out. And I think that if it weren't for her, I don't think I would be where I was right now, where I am right now. So yeah, just like she helped me like get through some stuff. Like I had like a really difficult time last year, so she helped me like a lot in getting through that and also just like being able to like connect with others because I'm a pretty shy person. I don't really like talk a lot, but like she made it easier for me to like talk and like share my ideas with other people who I've like never interacted with. So yeah, I just really like this program and I really like Miss Amber too.
That is fabulous and beautiful. Miss Amber, would you like to respond to your flowers?
So I've shared this before. In Australian culture, we have something called the tall poppy syndrome, which is when people give you compliments or someone else gets compliments, they cut each other down. So I am just going to respond with the wise words of my mother, which is be grateful and also not expected but appreciated. It's not the reason why we do this work and support you guys, but it's kind of nice to hear it every now and then. It doesn't have to be public, but it is nice to hear it every now and then. So, we talk about impact and capturing impact, and I understand we have to do that. But for me, the true bliss is the one-on-one and the group relationships and just being able to be a passenger on these amazing journeys of, that's 1/8 of your, not even 1/8, 1/16 of your life when you're in high school. So it's a privilege and a pleasure. I know we have 5 minutes left. I was really excited to hear, if we have time, what our crew members, their questions they had to some of our folks who were transfer students, possibly Facebook users. And
That's cold-blooded.
sorry,
That's
Noah.
so cold. That is so cold-blooded.
I do
All
have to
right.
break off at
Shots fired.
6:30.
Shots fired. Shots fired. All right. All right. All right. Go ahead.
If we're
Old
going to continue
heads.
after
Old heads.
6:30, I have to transfer it to Teresa because I have to go.
You can transfer
Y'all
it
want
to
to
me
stay
if
for
you
the
like,
after
Tim.
party? We have an after
I
party?
I have to go. So yes, I'll transfer it to Teresa.
All right. We're here for the after party. All right. So crew members, thank you, Miss Amber. So everybody who was a transfer student, could you go to the reaction, the little react thing at the bottom of your screen and put a heart up
I can't put a
like
hand
that?
up.
Put a heart up, Alan. Put a heart up. Stop being contrary, sir. Thank you. Oh, they don't stay up though. Okay, let's put a hand up then. The heart didn't stay. My heart didn't stay. Okay, let's try the hand. See if that stays. All right, so that they know who we are, but we can also just come off the mic. All right, so crew members, we are turning the show over to you for the after party and fire away questions for the students who were bused. So that's Joe, Teresa, Michelle, Alan. Anybody else? Am I missing anybody? Michelle? Michelle, did you put up something? Okay. How come Joe's hand stays up longer than the rest of ours? Joe, what is that about? Anyway, y'all come on. Ask us some questions. We're us Facebook users are all yours.
What was your very first reaction of it? I mean, obviously you were going to your school and then you're all of a sudden getting pulled into somewhere else. What did you guys feel? Also, how did it feel being on the bus?
No, we were catching the city bus. We didn't have no yellow bus, so we had to plan our own schedule.
Oh
If any,
my.
huh? Yeah,
Oh my goodness.
we had to catch the city bus. I think what Roosevelt did for me is it really I didn't know I was a minority until I went to Roosevelt. I was like, what? Well, anyway, the thing is that it prepared me as far as the real world. Like right now, your real world is Seattle. When you go to someplace else like Virginia, hmm, Roosevelt prepared me for that because I kind of got, I wouldn't say, I'm still not comfortable, but I, I got used to uh, understanding that here, not only do I have to face racism, I have to face Americanism. People don't believe I was born and raised in America. They were saying, "Oh, you're English. You speak pretty good," that kind of stuff. But that's okay because of my understanding and my first encounter of being a minority, you have to expect that. And the thing is that it's about how you react to that. And it took me some time to develop that. And I could tell you right now, you three young people, you guys are far way ahead as far as being able to explore and so forth and so on because your communication skills are excellent. When I was your age, it was all about, well, all my sentences ended with or started with But the thing is that it's a process. Okay, do not think that you will always feel uncomfortable, especially when you're going to areas that no minority has been to. Like I'm the first Filipino American to be accepted at the School of Dentistry at the University of Washington, the first Filipino American dentist to practice in the state of Virginia. So all of a sudden, not only do I have to represent a minority, but you will always be judged, and set the standard high by being yourself. Speak from a position of experience. Okay, and to get that experience, you just have to explore. Keep going up, keep going up. Your sky's the limit. And that's the beauty about this country in America. You got to put in the work. Nothing comes easy. Work hard. Because if anything, I'm not the smartest person in here. But I could tell you this, I could outwork anybody. Okay? It takes a lot of work, a lot of effort. You got to put the time and effort, and you'll surprise yourself because you got to work hard. And so, if anything, if I'm gonna leave you anything, sky's the limit. Don't let anybody define who you are because you have the skills. At your age, you have the skills. If anything, I'm gonna pass that on to you is that if I could do what I could do, you should surpass what I've done because you've already got such a big head start right now. And I congratulate you for even participating in this. This is an experimental type of thing, and you guys are trailblazers right now. And I'm very impressed. Okay, I'm done for the night.
I have a question for just anyone. Going to a predominantly white school, did you feel how did it impact your minority group? Out
Oh, we
like
got real close. We got real
close?
close. All of a sudden, when you go to the lunchroom, I knew who I was going to sit with because it was like a coffee break. You had to deal with all these, da 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 da. Then when it came to time to eat lunch or hang out, you hang out with the minority folks. And the thing was is that a good friend of ours, James Davis, who me and Joe, we all run together. And the one thing that we did because we were like one of the first busing students, and so the thing was is that we could have been part of the problem or part of the solution. And so right then, right off the bat, and say, look, man, we have to make sure that we need to be our best so that everybody becomes better off. And so you're going to feel very uncomfortable, and that's good because that's how you learn. Okay. You have to break down all the stereotypes. Be uncomfortable. Being uncomfortable is good.
How you
And
get comfortable.
get used to that. I'll shut up again.
No, that's great. That's great. Michelle?
Okay, so for me, I knew I was a minority when I went to school. Okay. I started at Eckstein though. So when I went out to Eckstein, I would say you might have had 10 black people in the whole school. Okay. And I remember when I went, and we're not talking about the 1900s, okay? But I remember going and they were picketing in, and I remember one of the students asking me about my tail, another student asked me, does the skin color come off? Um, so that's what I went through with Eckstein. By the time I got to Roosevelt, I knew what to do. The one thing I will say what I liked about going to Roosevelt was the education that I got. The education, I believe, assisted me in where I'm at right now because I actually had a baby when I was really, really young, but it didn't stop me. I still graduated. I still went to college. I still did the thing. What I liked about going to the the voluntary transfer was it teaches you how to work with white people. I'm just going to be straight up. I'm a black person. White people aren't here for me. And so going to that school taught me how to work to get where I need to go and worked on the anger aspect of it. Now, it took a little time as I got older and older to get there. But just like you said, when you went to a lunchroom, you're going to basically go with the black people. You're going to go with what you're used to. As I've gotten older, what I've learned to do is to go where I'm uncomfortable at. And I will do that a lot, 'cause a lot of times when I go to conferences, I'm the only black person in there. I worked at a jail. So when I first started out, I went to the conference and I'm the only black person in there. Well, going to Roosevelt helped a lot for me going to the conferences because I'm not uncomfortable when I'm going to see a bunch of white people and I'm the only black person there. I can get along, I can talk, because I look at it this way. All human beings want to be respected. I don't care who you are. And if I respect you, then we're going to get along just fine. Okay. And even if you don't respect me, I know how to work with you to get you to respect me without having an attitude. So that's what I liked about going to Roosevelt, was teaching me how to work in this society that I cannot run from, and to understand being uncomfortable is where I can get to be comfortable. So I like being uncomfortable because I know it's going to work me to comfort. So I put myself in a lot of experiences that I shouldn't, but it came from going to, seriously, from the voluntary transfer, opened me up for a lot more.
Yeah, because like one of the things about being uncomfortable, I made it a point that in every class I was in, I sat in the front row.
Yes.
Okay. And in every conference, dental conference I go to, I sit in the front row and I would ask a question.
Thank you. Yep.
So people go, "Oh, he speaks English." But if you want to be uncomfortable, sit in the front. You make it a point because you're gonna make sure people know there's a person of color in the room, and he's in the front row, so he must be smart, or maybe he can't hear. But ask that question, they'll people be shocked. They go, "Whoa, this guy."
And one thing my mom had taught me too is the question that you're asking, half the classroom want to ask it. A lot of time we don't say anything and everybody. So for me, what I would always do is ask the question, because I could see the minute I'd ask it, everybody around, oh, thank you, thank you. People just sometimes aren't comfortable with asking questions. Me, I'm very curious. So I ask a question and I actually listen to what you tell me and then work with it from there. So yeah, I'm the front seat, front row person. Ask the question, be uncomfortable. But what it does to you, it matures you. And it makes it easier to function in life, because let me tell you something, you're going to get slapped every time, regardless of what color you are. But the slapping to me is an experience for me to get better. So everything that I've done wrong, I don't look at it as wrong. I look at it, that's an experience. I have learned from that. That's how I look at it. So don't ever look at anything you do as a failure, as it's more of an education and it's going to teach you. So if you do something that you didn't think was right, or I wasn't perfect at it, that's a good thing. Because you're not going to be perfect at everything, but you're going to find out what you can do, and that's what you're going to zero in on.
Beautiful. Joe Hunter. Joe Hunter.
Yeah. It's yeah, a lot of the ways I feel now is looking back and reflecting. When at Roosevelt, um, the first year, especially, and like Alan was saying, we had no experience in being minority. I mean, no experience of being what minority was, and and going out to Roosevelt, catching the bus to go to Roosevelt, there was all of us, all black and Asian, and we're all on the same bus. We were a community going from one community to another community. And when we got to Roosevelt, we were still in community. So if you went in the lunchroom or whatever, you saw us. So one of the things that I noticed was that there were some students that lived of color that lived out in the North End, that from elementary to middle school to high school, they were the only person of color, and they fit in different. They fit in different. It's almost like they were assimilating into a culture, okay, that wasn't theirs. But we brought our culture with us, okay? And if you look at the yearbooks of 69, 70, 71, 72, or whatever, during the voluntary transfer program, we changed the culture at Roosevelt. Just take a look at everything that was going on, okay? Especially if you look at what's going on, what was going on then, what's happening now with the Roughets, okay? We changed the culture there. For me, it was eye-opening because I was born and raised in the central area, and we go to parties at the central area. In the central area, someone's house, not in the rec room, but down in the basement with the red lights on and stuff, and people were dancing. Yeah, that was it. We were dancing, But then I go out in the north end, and people were standing around drinking beer. I guess kegers. It was kegers. It was just totally different. Totally different, what have you. And it wasn't a question of fitting in or anything else for us. In some cases, it was learning to navigate people that had no experience of who you are, your background, your experience, whatever, and navigating around in some cases just pure ignorance. Okay, so and in the group that I came with from Washington Junior High, there was 10 of us. We were selected. We were chosen to go to Roosevelt. And I think there was some misunderstandings, some misgivings, or whatever, that we were going to Roosevelt to make us better. We were all top students. We were all top students. We were all comfortable, confident in who we were. In our 10 that went there, one of them, and Alan mentioned, James A. Davis, he became the class vice president. Okay, Lynn Hayes, who had a 10.0, a 4.0 all the way through school, graduated in the top 10, not in the top 10% of Roosevelt, the top 10 students of Roosevelt came from them. We were smart, intelligent. Roosevelt academically wasn't that much tougher, and I can't speak for everyone, than it was at Washington and whatever. So that wasn't a challenge or whatever. But for me, I went to school, played basketball, and then I worked. Okay, I worked Dick's Drive-In. I worked there for 3.5 years in high school. Okay, so I went there, worked, bought my car, and so I bused the first year. Then after that, I drove. So it made a big difference and stuff on that, what have you. But met some good people there at Roosevelt. Still have some good friends there at Roosevelt, what have you. I don't think we took advantage of the experience as much as maybe we should have, simply because we were just young and what have you. But I was at Roosevelt today, visiting students there at Roosevelt. And the advantage that we had when I was there was that, like I said, we had community. If we had issues, there was someone that rode on the bus with us that we went to middle school with or elementary school, whatever, that we can talk to and say, hey, we need to work this out or whatever. There was a group of us. And by group, I think there was maybe 80 or 90 of us out of 1,700. But there was enough of us. They don't have that at Roosevelt. No, they don't have anyone that looks like them, that has some of the same experiences that they do. And when they're in class, they're the only one that's there. And there's some other things I can mention, what have you. Okay, but the voluntary transfer program was a good program. But look where we are today. So we have a ways to go. But for me, corporate life, I started off, I worked in retail my entire life, and what have you. I grew to the point where I managed a $360 million district, one of the top 3 districts in that company. Okay, I was operations manager for a company that did over $1.1 billion. And this is a kid that grew up in the central area, about 4 or 5 blocks from Garfield. Okay, because the opportunity and potential was there. And I would say my experience at Roosevelt in navigating folks that were uncomfortable with me. Okay. And, understanding that unfamiliar, not being familiar with someone that was different, and being able to work with them. So anyway, I rambled on too much, Teresa.
That's okay. So, yeah, no worries. So the last one. I'll just wrap up to, second everything everybody already said. For me, I think that the experience was it felt like going to another country or another planet. For me, it was so different. It was and because not only were the students mostly white, but many of them were, at least compared to my family, very wealthy. Not just well-to-do, wealthy. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Wealthy. Their money makes money while they're sleeping wealthy, right? That was actually more than the racial part. That was the biggest culture adjustment for me, right? That was the biggest culture adjustment for me, was getting used to that. They'd go skiing in Colorado for the weekend and come back with a tan and a broken limb or something. Anyway, it was crazy, but that was completely foreign and new to me. Right. And so what it did, and I really love what Alan said, and it's really, really true, that we came in a community. We were like a hive, right? We had each other, and then some, and different folks ventured out. I know for Joe and some of the guys, there were a lot of, most of the sports were for guys back then. I want y'all to understand something. Talk about the 1900s. We were excited, the girls were excited, because high school was the first time we could wear pants to school. Okay. All right, I just want you to think about that. It's like Handmaid's Tale, right? But for me, it was like going to another country, and so I've always been very comfortable. And my background is multicultural, multiracial. But it enhanced my comfort, that is, and confidence, that have served me really well throughout my life. I've lived in other countries, been blessed to travel, lived in different parts of this country, and I'm very comfortable with difference. I'm not just comfortable with it; I seek it out. I thrive on it. I love learning from people and interacting with people who are different than me. The more different, the better. And I think that Roosevelt really whet my appetite for that and really helped develop it, so that I really feel a sense of global connection and awareness. And it definitely helped me throughout my very eclectic career. So that's what I want to say. So are we ready to wrap? Yeah.
Teresa,
Yes, sir.
yeah, I just wanted to thank everybody for taking time out of their evening to join this call.
Yes.
It's been great, it's entertaining and enlightening. To our guests, I just want to say that if you have any career goals, so it really is good. Like Alan said, you're way ahead of where we were at the time. And I think that healthcare, social work, and law are excellent fields. And I wish you all the best as you work towards that. And it's for the rare members, it's great to see you. Hope to get together sometime in person. And thanks again. It was a great open discussion. I really appreciate it.